Hey there, you're very welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, you are very welcome. Thank you for my returning subscribers. My name is Chedema. So we'll be going right into the tutorial. Here I just marked the starting line from the top here. I marked the starting line and I'm going to take away 2 inches just like you see me doing here. I removed 2 inches from that line I marked, which will serve as the band. That is, I'll cut 2 inches band later to put on this trouser. So from that place I came down by 9 inches. So that will serve as the hip point. So also from there I'm coming down by 13 inches. That is going to serve as the crouch. Then from that point I place my tape at that crouch and I measured 5 inches. So I'm going ahead to connect everything. After I was done connecting, I'm labeling. H represents hip, then C for crouch, then T for the tie. That's the lines I marked across. So here I'm going to take her hip measurement. That's her hip divided by 4. Only the tie for trouser cutting, only the tie will be divided by 2. So hip will be divided by 4, and I have done that here. Her hip is 50.5, so I divided it by 4. I marked it and then I added the 2 inches stitching allowance. So after I was done, I connected it this way from the hip to the waist, and then I'm going to connect it also down to the crouch. As you already know from the thumbnail, this trouser is a plus size palazzo trouser. So I'm going in here by 3 inches. That is for the crouch. From that crouch line, I'll place my tape from that hip measurement that I took earlier. Then I went out by 3 inches because it's a big size. But in the case where it's a small size, say 8, 12, 6, you can come out by 2 inches. So after I was done, I placed my tape at that my tie line that I marked, and then I took my tie measurement. That's tie divided by 2. So after I was done marking that, I'm taking the waist measurement now. The waist to be divided by 4. So I will mark what I got here. So after that, I will add 2 inches for the sewing allowance, just like I've been adding in the other ones. So I am going ahead now to connect everything. Please note where I put my tape before taking this waist measurement, so that you will be sure to do your start somewhere. Then after I was done connecting, I'm using my curve rule to make a curve. That's curving it from that 3 inches I went out by from the crouch. I curve it into the hip line that I marked earlier. At this point, I am adding 2 inches stitching allowance at the tie point. I didn't add it earlier. So after marking it, I'm connecting it to the crouch line. After connecting it with my small ruler, I will use my longer ruler to connect it down to the full length of the trouser. So still taking away 2 inches from this top part, I'm going to take the full length of this trouser, and it's 38 inches. That's the full length. So I just marked it down here and I'm going to connect it. So this is not even the main fabric that I'm working with. I'm just using this material as a pattern. Like I'm using it to draft out this pattern, this trouser pattern. This is actually my bedspread that I bought like a week ago. But the bedspread is just a waste of my money and everything. The lady that sold it to me told me that it wasn't going to wash, that it's a good quality bedspread. But at the end of the day, the bedspread ended up staining my foam and even my nightgown. I was so mad. Like I just had to use it for this pattern because I just had to take it off because I couldn't leave it any longer on my bed. So this is the main fabric here that I'm working with. But man, this fabric is really difficult to work with. It's not that easy to work with. It shifts around. It's this, I think it's chiffon that it's called, or I don't know. So I just had to use this to draft. So after I was done arranging it, I placed the pattern, and then here it is all cut out. Then we're going to be cutting the back part now. So you can see the inches I left up here. So from that point at this waistline of the front pattern, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. Then on the sides, I'm going to also come out by 2 inches. But at the crouch, I'm going to come out by 3 inches that I came out by with the other at the front pattern. So but on this other side it's 2 inches, but here at this crouch is going to be 3 inches, just like the front pattern, right? So then here as well, I'm going to mark 2 inches all the way down to the last part. That's the full length. So after I was done, I used my free hand to connect everything together. So after that, I bring in my ruler. From the 2 inches, I'm going to mark this line here at my waistline, then connect it slantly like so to meet that 2 inches that I went up by. Remember, to 2 inches I went up by. So I'm going to connect it to meet that 2 inches and this waist point, making sure that they are equal. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that, okay? Please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, please. Thank you. So after I was done cutting that out, I have gone ahead to sew this crouch part. This is the front and this one now is the back one. I have sewn everything together, the crouch points. So I have sewn all of them together, like the front side I sew it together and this back I sew together. So right now I'm arranging it. I'm going to sew here first, putting these two crouch, the back and the front crouch together, and I'm going to sew it down to the full length and then sew the sides as well. Here I was done doing that already. This is how it looks. I've finished sewing the two parts. So this is it. It's meant to cut the band here. Sorry I didn't show when I was cutting the band, but I cut the band 5 inches. The width is 5 inches. Then the length is, I measured the length of the waist, so it's 5 inches by width here. Then the full length I measured round the waist, right? I measured round the waist. That was what I used to cut the length. Then the width is 5 inches, so that by the time I fold it, it's going to be 2.5. Okay, so this is it here. I've joined it. I use my hair stay. See, hair stay become stay. Yes, I added gum stay or hair stay, anyone. That was what I used here. I added, that's why it's looking white there. So right now I am done sewing it round. So what I'm doing here is to open a place where my rope will be going in. I'll be putting the rope. So that's what I want to do here from the front part, of course. So I opened this, I made this small hole here where I'm going to pass my rope from. So you can see it's very small. So this is the rope. The width I use for making this strip is 2 inches, while the length is, I don't know the length, I didn't measure it actually, but I think it's longer than this tape. This measuring tape is longer than it. So I didn't measure, I didn't take cognizance of the length. I just made it to be very long, but the width is 2 inches. So I just sew it together like you sew your strip, band strip or something. So I use this safety pin to pass it through the hole that I made. You can also tie the ends of the rope so that the rope doesn't go inside. Okay guys, so this is what we have here. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.